Hello and welcome to the Matt Stewart Sports High School Football Podcast. Thanks for watching on YouTube or listening on iHeart, Spotify, or Apple. And please like, follow, subscribe, and share with your high school football friends. Looking forward to week 4 of our GPB Sports Football Fridays in Georgia schedule. We got a huge Region 3 5A showdown between the 4-1 Noonan Cougars and the 5-0 and second-ranked Langston Hughes Panthers at Coach Willie Cannon Field in Fairburn. This will be the 10th all-time meeting between these two teams. Cougars on the road back to respectability. They've gone 13-4 the last 2+ seasons under 3-time state championship coach Chip Walker. And Langston Hughes, of course, has become one of the top programs, not only just in the state of Georgia, but also in the entire country since 2021. They've won a state championship, and they've played in 2 state championship games with runner-up finishes. So that makes 3 state finals appearances in the last 4 years. And this year, they're led by first-year head coach Andrico Hines, who was the offensive coordinator when the Panthers set the state scoring record and won the state championship back in 2022. So looking forward to that Friday night at 7:30 on GPB. Should be a fun one. Join me along with Wayne Gandy and John Nelson from Fairburn, Georgia for that one. Coming up on this week's episode, we're going to visit with Carrollton head coach Joey King. His third-ranked Trojans, who've reached the state finals in 2 of the last 3 years, are off to an impressive 6-0 start going into their bye week this week. We'll also check out the latest recruiting news and visit with Hebron Christian 3-star offensive tackle Fletcher Turk, who committed to Wake Forest over the weekend. We'll celebrate the top 5 winners of the week, and we'll close things out with the top 5 games to keep your eyes on this week. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. Let's start things off, however, with my players of the week. And let's begin at quarterback. I'm going to go with Demetrius Holloway of Jenkins. He was 6 of 11 passing for 140 yards and a touchdown, 8 for 69 yards rushing and a touchdown. But that one touchdown came clutch. It was a 19-yard touchdown run with 54 seconds left in the game to lift the Warriors to a big 41-33 win over Calvary Day down in Savannah. My running back of the week, Zach Bellew of North Cobb, 10 carries for 171 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns in the Warriors' 24-17 win at North Paulding. He had a 66-yard touchdown run. He had a 57-yard run that set up a North Cobb field goal, and if you watch the game, he's untackleable. The 4-star Bellew is rated as high as the number 8 running back in 2028 with 30 offers, including Georgia. My wide receiver of the week goes to Peyton Zachary of Carrollton, 11 catches for 127 yards, 2 touchdowns in the Trojans' 43-7 win over Parker, Alabama, which is the defending state champions in 6A in that state. He also had 71 punt return yards for 198 all-purpose yards in that victory. Zachary is a 3-star wide receiver who is committed to UNLV, and we'll talk more about him coming up in a few minutes with Joey King. My offensive lineman of the week, Brandon Anderson of North Cobb, Warriors 6'4", 320-pound offensive tackle, anchored the North Cobb offensive line in the Warriors' 24-17 win at North Paulding. He is a 4-star committed to Missouri and rated the number 10 offensive guard in the country in 2026 by ESPN, although he plays offensive tackle for North Cobb, which is not unusual. My defensive lineman of the week, Jamarian Matthews of Gainesville, 6 solo tackles, 4 TFL in the Red Elephants' 57-30 win over Lanier. Matthews is committed to Alabama. He's a consensus 4-star rated as high as the number 8 edge rusher in 2026. My linebacker of the week comes from that same game, and it's Xavier Griffin of Gainesville. He had 11 total tackles, 7 solo, 5 TFL, and 4 quarterback hurries in the Red Elephants' victory over Lanier. Griffin is also committed to Alabama. He is a 5-star, and he's rated as high as the number 1 linebacker in the country in 2026, a distinction he shares with Grayson linebacker Tyler Atkinson. My safety of the week goes to Max Steve of Hebron Christian. He had 20 total tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 PBU, and scored on a 2-point conversion in the Lions' 22-17 win at Blessed Trinity. He's committed to Davidson, and again, we'll be talking to his teammate, Fletcher Turk, a little bit later in the podcast. My cornerback of the week is Marcus Singleton of North Cobb. He had 5 solo tackles, a quarterback sack, and 2 interceptions, the first that set up the Warriors' second touchdown of the game and gave them the lead that they would never relinquish. And then his second interception clinched the win with less than a minute to go in the game. He is the 4th Singleton to come through the Warriors program, including former star quarterback Malachi Singleton, who is now at Purdue. My return man of the week is Terrius Favors of Carver, Atlanta. 85-yard kick return touchdown in the Panthers' win over Washington. And that was just part of his monster game that included 70-yard rushing touchdown, 5 catches for 125 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. So he had a total of 275 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns in that victory. Favors is committed to Boise State, and he's now a 4-star, rated as high as the number 17 wide receiver in 2026. And you can see him this week on the GPB Sports stream game when Carver, Atlanta plays host to Hateville Charter at Lakewood Stadium. But my number one performance of the week, and you might have thought if you heard this news, wow, Matt's forgot that. How can he leave this out? I didn't. My number one performance of the week, Mason Hollingsworth of Whitfield Academy. Now get this now, you're not going to believe these numbers. He rushed for a Cobb County record 426 yards on 26 carries, scored 5 total touchdowns in the Wolfpack's 63-24 win over St. Anne Pacelli. Just a phenomenal performance. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. Let's get to our 5 biggest winners of the week before we hear from Joey King. North Cobb, they defeated North Paulding 24-17 on GPB Sports Football Fridays in Georgia. Warriors jump into the driver's seat to win their 5th region title in 6 years with that victory. In our first ever visit to the Den at North Paulding, had a blast, had a great time. 4-star sophomore running back Zach Bellew had a huge game. North Cobb defense, led by sophomore quarterback Marcus Singleton, came up big in the second half with the game on the line. Make that kid an offer candidate. Wolfpack 5'8", 165-pound senior quarterback Tyler Neer played his butt off. He was 21 of 28 passing for 303 yards and 2 touchdowns in the losing effort, but he was worth the watch, no doubt about it. Peachtree Ridge makes the list. They hold off Norcross 24-22. Lions took an 11-point lead into the fourth quarter and then survived the Blue Devils' furious comeback when Norcross failed on a potential game-tying 2-point conversion after scoring with 1 minute left in the game. Peachtree Ridge improves to 4-1 overall, 2-0 in the region. Lions quarterback Rayshawn Parks ran and passed for a touchdown in the win. Next up on my biggest winners list, Hebron Christian. They edged out Blessed Trinity 22-17. Lions are ranked number 1 in my private classification. They are defending state champions. They jumped out to a 15-0 first quarter lead in this game and then held off the 4A 7th-ranked Titans. Mercer commit Devon Caldwell had a big game, 19 carries for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns, touchdown runs of 51 and 75 yards against a highly ranked BT defense. Hebron improves to 3-1 overall, heading into region play this week against East Jackson. Next on my list, River Ridge. They knocked off Sequoia 28-21. Knights running back Cameron Cox scored on an 80-yard touchdown run on the opening play of the game. And River Ridge never trailed en route to the win over the 5A 6th-ranked Chiefs. The victory came just 1 week after Sequoia had grabbed headlines with a 63-20 rout of defending region champion Sprayberry. The Knights defense held Chiefs star running back Will Rejecki to just 1 touchdown after he had scored 7 touchdowns the week before in that victory over Sprayberry. And number 1 on my biggest list of biggest games, Carrollton. They blast Parker, Alabama, 43-7. The 6A 3rd-ranked Trojans ended the Thundering Herds' 14-game winning streak that included the 2024 Alabama State Championship. Alabama's 6A 3rd-ranked Parker had not lost a game since Carrollton beat them over there in Alabama last season. Trojans quarterback combo, we're going to talk more about that with Joey King in just a moment. The quarterback combo of Mason Holtzclaw and CJ Cipher combined to go 21 of 32 passing for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. Both of these guys are highly recruited. Cipher's just a freshman, and he has 13 offers already, including Nebraska. Time now to welcome in Carrollton head coach Joey King. And Joey, thanks a lot for being with us. Congratulations on the 6-0 season start. And now you got a week off before your team jumps into region play at Westlake 2 Friday nights from now. Just your thoughts on what you've done so far through the first 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, one, we're definitely thankful the bye week is here. When you go a scrimmage game and then 6 regular season games, especially against some of the opponents that we've played, it can take a toll on you. So, I'm definitely happy with our guys. We've had two come from behind wins mixed into that deal somewhere, and I think that says a lot about our guys' resiliency. And their ability to stay focused and stay the course. So hopefully some of that battle testing will pay dividends down the road for us. But I'm definitely excited about where we are as a team, but nowhere near satisfied. We've still got a lot of room to improve in, and that's our focus as we head into the bye week.
It'd be easy to look at just these last 2 wins, and we will because I thought both of them were just huge. But I want to go back to week 3, and you kind of referenced it already, that game at Rome where your team was down 21-7, I believe, late in the third quarter, and you come back and win 28-21. Was that a galvanizing win for this year's team?
I think it will. I say that. I think we responded the way that we needed to respond. The first half of that game didn't go close to how we had it planned for whatever reason. But to come back in the second half and perform the way that we did and finish the deal the way that we did against what I still think is a really talented Rome football team, I think that builds character, builds resiliency. So hopefully it does carry us down the road. As far as a galvanizing moment, I don't know. I definitely think it's one that let me have a little insight as to who we really are as a team, though.
Yeah, I certainly have Rome in my 5A top 10. So, yeah, they're a good team. Last 2 wins have been absolutely huge. Had a tight game at 5A, top 5 Gainesville. Not unlike your Rome game, only that you weren't trailing in this one. I think it was 22-21 as you go to the fourth quarter and you put the pedal down and win that game 43-21. And then you followed up this past week with I don't think a win that's been publicized enough, but I was hugely impressed. A 43-7 win over Parker, the defending Alabama 6A state champs. They had won 14 straight since you beat them last year. So what have you seen in these last 2 weeks in particular?
Well, both of those teams are tremendously talented. Both are extremely well coached, deep playoff type teams. The Gainesville game, we tried to give it away in the third quarter and had momentum swing, and their crowd was rocking. That's a great place to go play at City Stadium up there in Gainesville. And Coach Niblett's team is always very well coached. But again, our guys just stayed the course. And the score got a little out of hand those last couple of minutes. But it was a hard fought ball game for all 4 quarters. And I was, again, extremely proud of our guys. And then to start off against Parker, we started off a little rocky. Our defense really, they pinned their ears back and played a great defensive game. Special teams always plays a big part. And we kind of settled into a rhythm as the game progressed offensively too. So, right now, all 3 phases of the game, again, we feel good with where we're at, but nowhere near satisfied. And our guys have taken that approach to continue to try to get better week in and week out. And as a coach, you talk a lot of times about not being circumstantial or keeping your nose down and just focusing on the road that you're trying to hold, regardless of whether it's raining or it's sunny or it's hot. And I think our guys have embraced that mindset right now.
Yeah, I noticed in your special teams in particular, Julian Vargas has been money on his kicks. You blocked 3 kicks as well, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we take a lot of pride in special teams. We meet from a special team standpoint, and at the end of that meeting, we say special teams, and our entire team says change the game. A lot of people want to say special teams is a third of the game, but statistically, if you look at it, it makes up about 49% of total yardage throughout the course of a game. So it's almost half of a game. So we're going to emphasize it like it's that important. We blocked a few kicks. We've taken a couple of punts and a couple of kickoffs back to the house, and we give awards and hype it up just like it's as important as offense and defense.
Your team's been through a lot this year already with the loss of Kamari Farmer. We won't go into all that, but just devastating news for everybody associated with that. How did you and your coaching staff deal with that with your team? Because, that kind of thing that would happen, just talking strictly team perspective right now, could really rock a team for an entire season.
It is. Again, our young men are extremely resilient, and we love each other. We break it down on that every day. That's this family deal that we talk about is not something that we just talk about. A lot of people put it on T-shirts, but here at Carrollton, that family bond that's in that locker room that exists with the players and the coaches, it's real. So when something rips the heart out of your chest, the only thing you can do is continue forward. If you lay around and wallow and lick your wounds, the world's going to move on and football season is going to move on. And our guys know that being together and fighting to go forward is really what's going to kind of get us through this deal. And we're having a fight. There's days that aren't easy. Days that it gets thrown up in our face, but our guys are very resilient and very close knit. And so that's kind of what keeps us pushing forward.
I can't even imagine. I mean, I knew Kamari just a little bit from a post-game interview and seemed like a great kid, and just devastating even now when I think about it, just devastating. So I can't imagine what you guys go through on a day-to-day basis when, like you said, you're just going along and it hits you in the face.
Yeah, it's definitely a terrible tragedy for our entire community, and we're heartbroken on many levels.
So let's talk about your team. After 3 seasons of Juju Lewis and 2 state runners-up, and he graduated. Now he's at Colorado. Congratulations to him. You're running a 2-quarterback system so far this year with 2 highly recruited quarterbacks, senior Mason Holtzclaw and freshman C.J. Cipher. How do you feel that's working out statistically? It looks like it's working out very well. Actually, CJ has, bigger statistics, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but he does. So how do you feel like it's working out? And do you see this being the game plan the entire season?
Yeah, well, right now, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Right.
Seems to be working right now. Mason brings a lot of maturity and experience to the table, and in some of those moments, I think it's critical to have him in the role that he's in. Other than that, you're throwing it all on CJ as a freshman, and that's a lot of pressure, especially in 6A football in the state of Georgia. But both of the young men, they come to work each and every day. They handle it well. They're excited when the other one does well. Again, it's what a true family and what a true team looks like. But right now, we're gonna keep rolling in that same direction as long as it's working for us.
Joking with you here. I never saw you as the Steve Spurrier type. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
but he's of course most famous for doing that kind of stuff. So how does it work with you guys? I mean, I'm sure you're not taking them out, after every snap like Spurrier famously did with some of his quarterbacks. But do you go into it game planning, or do you just kind of play it by ear with the flow of the game?
Yeah, a little bit of both, to answer that. Some of it is situational, based on their strengths and weaknesses, and then some of it is kind of throughout the flow of the game. We'll go basically percentage based on performance on the past couple of weeks. So we kind of know about how many series they're going to get. But then, it's kind of if somebody develops a hot hand and the situation arises to where we need to keep them in the game, we're going to do that. If, we can see that they're not handling something well, the good thing is we got another one to go with right now, So a lot of it is situational, but some of it is based on skill set and ability in certain situations too.
How about in your running back room? Cam Wood has stepped up, averaging 6.5 yards per carry, 80 yards rushing per game, scored 12 rushing touchdowns. The season, I'm guessing, certainly took an unexpected turn for him. But for you guys, it's not the first time you've lost a senior quarterback going into his final year.
Yeah,
Senior running back, I should say.
yeah,
Yeah.
with Bryce a couple years ago, the same thing happened. But and our guys have always kind of had that next man up mentality. We don't put all our eggs in the basket of the starter and not prepare the next guys. I mean, our JV guys are getting reps at practice. Our ninth grade guys are getting reps at practice. And I tell our coaches, at least the 3 deep, you better make sure all these jokers know the game plan, because you never know what can happen throughout the course of the game. So to see Cam step up, and Cam's a young man that he's an extremely high character, great young man, works his tail off, plays really, really hard. Is a really good athlete. He's got good hands. So prior to this, we were trying to figure out how we were going to get him on the field, mixing in some running back snaps, some slot receiver snaps, kick returner. And now, for us, he's having to carry the load as a running back, but definitely has earned the right to be in the position that he's in. And we're super proud of how productive he is, but also how he's handling everything.
Wide receiver room, we knew you had Peyton Zachary and Ryan Mosley coming back, and they certainly have not disappointed with a combined 60 catches for nearly 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Great to have those 2 guys in the pass-catching game when you're breaking in 2 new quarterbacks.
Oh, without a doubt, the experience that they bring to the table the leadership that they bring from an offensive standpoint, and the fact that they really understand the system. You know, throughout the course of the game, sometimes I'll go off script and see things that we like, and Peyton and Ryan understand it with the best of them, and so they'll be out there communicating exactly what I want. You know, so if I'll call something, and they understand exactly as soon as the call comes in what I'm trying to accomplish, and if one of the young guys will look kind of big-eyed, not knowing exactly what's going on, they kind of tell them exactly what to do and what I'm looking for. So definitely proud of where they're at right now, not just on offense, but on both sides of the ball for us. They're doing a tremendous job in all three phases too.
From a recruiting standpoint, this might be your highest profiled offensive line that you've had with Zaki Helton, who's committed to Georgia. He's rated as high as the number one center in the country by ESPN. And then sophomore Quali Fielder coming into his own and already recruited by most all the big programs.
Yeah, you know, we've traditionally, I mean, you've covered it enough to know that we're small in the trenches, you know, compared
Yeah,
to
usually.
some of the guys that we're playing, but we're probably bigger this year, especially with three of the guys than we've been in the past, and we got a little bit more beef on the defensive line right now, you know. So it's definitely good to have those guys, and to see Quali grow as a player, and Z coming back after all that he's been through, the adversity that he's faced, and man, super proud of those guys.
Defense, only 4 returning starters from last year's team. Linebacker C.J. Gamble is back. He committed to Georgia Tech over the summer. Wildman Caden Spratling is back. He played such a huge role for you guys in that semifinal win at Buford last December. Those guys are really producing. You can talk about those guys, but also you got a new guy at linebacker in Jameer Harris. Share about him a little bit.
Yeah, so Jameer was a JV player for us as a junior, and you know we were moving CJ and Spratling around, trying to get the pieces of the puzzle in the right place, and Jameer just kept showing up and kept being consistent in his work, and then all of a sudden he starts making plays. You know, if you would have told me before the season that Jameer would be maybe leading us in tackles or second in tackles on the team, I might have laughed at that. But kudos to his consistency, his believing in the program. You know, a lot of people don't wait till their senior year to play nowadays. If they're not getting a sniff at the field, they're going to try to find somewhere else to go. But he has truly trusted the process, and he's a big piece of what we're trying to do right now. So I'm definitely proud of him as a young man and a player.
You had one of the highest profile recruited secondaries in the state, maybe the nation last year. Dorian Barney, committed to Michigan, is back at one corner. You got highly recruited sophomore cornerback Tyler Boyd at the other, playing a big role. And then you pop in Ryan Mosley and Peyton Zachary in there too. Talk about how you've been able to rebuild that secondary.
Yeah, you know, so we got Dorian back, and then Jay Hagan is back. He had some issues to where he had to sit out the first part of the season, but Jay's been back in action since the Gainesville game. So he came in at halftime of Gainesville and played the entire Parker game, and definitely gives us a shot in the arm as an experienced guy back in the secondary force. Ryan and Peyton bring a lot to the table athletically and just understanding the game. And then Tyler Boyd is one that when it's all said and done, he'll be able to play all 5 defensive back positions for anybody in the country at the next level. He's super talented, got a bright future ahead of him. And then, you know, you mix in guys like Aiden Rosemond, Jeremiah Arnoux, Jermichael Simmons is a guy that's been playing a lot of safety for us. Again, Jermichael is a senior that's been in the program, that was a JV player last year as a junior, and now the opportunity is in front of him as a senior, and he's done a great job for us. So definitely we're building some depth continuously in that room, but when we get our best 5 out there, it's a pretty special group.
Am I to assume that Jeremiah is Shamara's younger brother?
It's his younger cousin.
Younger
Yeah,
cousin.
younger
There you
cousin.
go.
Yep, he's a sophomore. Great young man.
I love that about your program. You're always keeping it in the family. You got so many legacy players that come through your program. They're there, and maybe their uncles played there, maybe their daddies played there, all kinds of stuff there in Carrollton. That's one of the things that makes your program so special. So, you know, we're still 6 weeks away from the start of the state playoffs. You have a 4-game region schedule in front of you. You've been close the last 3 years, and believe it or not, you're flying maybe a little bit under the radar this season, unlike you have been the last couple of years. Could this be the year? What's the message for your team here as you sit at the halfway point of the season?
You know, could this be the year to answer that question? Yes, but we feel that way every year, you know, and I think the formula is in place. Our kids buy in and really believe in the process. The difference is, I read, I may have shared this with somebody in an interview a couple of weeks ago. Bill Walsh's book, Winning Takes Care of Itself, right? As a football coach, you bust your tail and work as hard as you can and pour into these kids as much as you can to control ultimately about 80% of the game. The unfortunate part about football is 20% is left up to luck, weather, officiating,
Yeah.
injuries, right? So that's the hard part. So we believe the formula is in place. The elements are there. We've got a good team. Our kids are bought in right now. But there's a lot of variables when it comes to winning it. We just know to wake up and put our best foot forward every day. And if the good Lord wills it, it'll be. If not, we'll keep rolling on anyhow.
Well, Joey, it's always great to visit with you. Continued success to you and your program as you go throughout this season, and we certainly hope to catch up with you soon on GPB Sports Football Fridays in Georgia.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you. Thanks a lot, and go Trojans.
Always great to catch up with Carrollton Coach Joey King, and look forward to catching up with the Carrollton Trojans on GPB Sports Football Fridays in Georgia. Got a game on our target list, on our radar list. Can't announce it yet because we don't do that this far out in advance, but expect to see those Carrollton Trojans on GPB before the regular season is over, and certainly probably again in the playoffs. All right, check out my Matt Stewart Sports High School Football Podcast, Top 80. That's the rankings for all 8 classifications in Georgia high school football. Don't have time to go through all of them right here, but you can find them on Twitter, on X at Matt Stewart TV, or you can find them on my Facebook page at Matt Stewart Sports, or you can find them on Instagram at Matt Stewart TV Sports. So I invite you to follow me on all 3 of those platforms. I'm always tweeting stuff outside of this podcast, lots of stuff, and not just high school sports either. So check it out. I think I'm a fun follow, if I say so myself. So check it out. You can check out the rankings on all 3 platforms. All right, let's hit the recruiting news now, because we've got some pretty big recruiting news coming down the pike this past week. Big decommitment coming over the weekend as Prince Avenue 3-star Ben Musser has decided to move off his decision to play at Virginia Tech, at least for now. His decision comes in the wake of the Hokies' decision to fire head coach Brent Pry. Musser has 12 other offers, and he's rated as high as the number 7 dual-threat quarterback in 2027 and a 3-star. Lee County 3-star junior Chavez Dixon committed to Ole Miss. The 6'4", 305-pound Dixon shows the Rebels over 10 other offers, including Georgia Tech and Georgia State. He's rated as high as the number 24 interior offensive lineman in 2027 by Rivals. And Morgan County senior quarterback Davis Strickland picked West Georgia. Strickland chose the Wolves over offers from Cornell, ETSU, and Eastern Kentucky. He's a Matt Stewart Sports High School Football Podcast 2A preseason All-State player. He's thrown for over 4,700 yards in his career with 57 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Yeah, he's pretty good. All right, our final piece, though, is the big one. Hebron Christian 3-star offensive lineman Fletcher Turk committed to Wake Forest over the weekend. Turk chose the Demon Deacons over 20 other offers, including Clemson and Georgia Tech. At 6'6", 293 pounds, Fletcher is an imposing presence on any high school football offensive line, but especially in the private classification. Time now to bring in Hebron Christian offensive lineman Fletcher Turk. And Fletcher, thanks a lot for being with us, and congratulations on a great start to your senior season.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot for me to be here.
Yeah, you guys rebounded from your first loss to McCallie a couple of weeks ago, one of the best teams in Tennessee, with a huge 22-17 win over BT Friday night. And then 48 hours later, you announced your commitment to Wake Forest. What's the last couple of days been like for you?
It's been kind of crazy. Honestly, I committed last week. But obviously with the big game coming up, I knew the job I had ahead. I told the coaches, I was like, hey, I'm gonna announce on Sunday, and I'm gonna let. Obviously, my goal is right now to focus on Fridays and not really Saturdays, and so I'm gonna let the team do what we do. And obviously, I felt like we should have beat McCallie, and I feel like if they played here in Georgia, it'd be a little bit different of a story. But I knew we were gonna beat BT, and we just had to be focused on it, and that's what we did. And I was proud of our team.
So you didn't want to be a distraction to the game or the team, right?
No, sir. I didn't want to be a distraction at all. I knew that it would have taken away a little bit of the seriousness of what this game meant for us seniors and us juniors and sophomores who lost to them last year, and we honestly felt like we should have beat them last year, and we were very angry about that. And I was angry about it, so I would not let anything get in the way of us beating them.
Well, I think that tells everybody who's watching and listening to this interview tells us a lot about you. So I applaud you for that. How gratifying was that win on Friday night, especially for the offensive line? You're going up against BT's star-studded front 7 or 8, 5-star DJ Jacobs, the 4-star brother Dawson, Kansas commit Lucas Smalls Allen. Kirby Smart helicoptered in to watch this game. It was kind of a big deal, but you guys won the battle.
Yes, sir. It meant a lot to us O-line, you know. I take my guys over anybody in the state, to be honest. You know, we've been through it. We got 3 guys who are veterans, you know, me, Big Elijah, and Morgan Jordan, and then we got a center who played last year, and we only have 1 new guy on the offensive line. And as a senior, I just need to lead them the best I can. And I was just telling them all week, I was telling the guys, I was like, don't worry about 15. I got them. Like, I'll handle them. I got them. Trust me, I got them. You know, I got that confidence in myself that I can go out there and do what I need to do just with God and the preparation, the brotherhood we have. You know, if I turned around, I know God would have my back. And so, you know, that's what we just locked arms together, and we just knew that it was going to be a battle, and we were heading in there together.
Well, I know the team battle is number one, but those individual battles are also very important and gratifying on a personal level for each and every player. So, congratulations on winning that battle as well against BT. What's the transition been like for you and your team, especially the seniors? You guys win the state championship last December in Mercedes Benz, and then you must be thinking smooth sailing for my senior year. And then Coach Guest leaves to coach in his hometown, and Coach Dallas comes in from Trinity Christian. You know, change your senior year is typically the last thing that you'll want, but it appears that it's worked out well for you guys.
Yes, sir. Yeah, obviously you saw it. We were very dominant in the state championship last year. It played out exactly how we wanted to play it. We played great. I did think it was smooth sailing. You know, I was like, oh, we're good. We're gonna be like this. This could be a dynasty, like all this. And Coach Guest left, and Coach Dallas came in. And honestly, what I could say is this has been the greatest experience of my life. Coach Dallas coming in and coaching us. Um, truly, what had a bad thing happen to us turned into a good thing for us as a team. That when we didn't have a head coach, when we were just working out in that weight room with us and just our strength coach and no head coach in there, we were just brothers. Like we clamped down together, and we're like all the seniors met, and we had multiple meetings, and we're like we're not like some people left, and what that told us is that they weren't with us since the beginning, and us seniors clamped down together, and we really, you know, a lot of us just want to finish our year strong. We want to go back to back. You know, we had a lot of goals together, and we weren't just going to leave it. We weren't just going to lay down and say, hey, our head coach, you know, he makes us. No, the players make the team. And honestly, this brotherhood that Coach Dallas has constructed, I mean, his culture, his philosophy, I truly think he's probably one of the best coaches in Georgia history, if not the best coach in Georgia football right now. So
I would agree with you. Coach Guest, of course, great coach. And then you get the best of both worlds. You bring in Coach Dallas, who I have the utmost respect for, admire him as not just a coach, but also a man. So I know the program's in very good hands with Coach Kenny Dallas leading the way. So congratulations to you guys. That was a great gift to you guys in your senior year, and you didn't even really know it, but you found it out along the way that getting Coach Dallas has been a blessing for you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, how about let's talk about your offense a little bit, breaking in a new quarterback this year, but you have 2 of the most dynamic players in the state on that side of the ball. And that's regardless of classification in my book. Devon
Yes, sir.
Caldwell, who's committed
Yeah.
to Mercer, Jarvis Mathurin, who's committed to Georgia Southern. How much fun is this offense, and in particular blocking for Devon, who's he's a potential house call every time he touches the ball and had 2 big long touchdown runs against BT.
Yes, sir. So, you know, blocking for Devon is the most fun thing you can do. I mean, I trust, you know, O-line, you have to have trust. It's the only position in sports where your back is turned to the football the whole time, turned to the ball the whole time. You
Yeah.
can't see the ball, don't know where it's going. You know, I trust every time that Devon's going to make the right cut. If you watch the film, you watch the games, he always is, you know, running for 150 yards in the first 2 quarters against BT. Like, come on, like, that's, you know, they held Milton to 80 and he scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, you know? And that's a testament to O-line and him. Like, he works hard in the weight room. I watch him every day. It's just not confidence on the field, but it's seeing him work every day in the weight room, seeing him catch passes after practice, seeing him run with the O-line after practice, seeing him encourage us. And then you go out there, throw the ball out wide to a screen, and you throw it to Jarvis Matherin, who runs a 4.3. And honestly, I think Jarvis is even more dangerous in the return game. I mean,
I totally agree with you on Jarvis. When I named our GPB all-state, all-classification team, so regardless of the classification, he was my kick returner on that thing. So he's phenomenal, and so is Devon. It's a fun offense to watch, no doubt about it. Let's talk about your decision.
sir.
First of all, you're an offensive tackle, right? I see as some of these recruiting services refer to you as an interior offensive lineman, but you're 6'6", 280 at least. You're being recruited to
Yes, sir.
play outside, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm well. The other night before the game, I measured it. I weighed in at 6'6", 293. Um, you know, in the summer I hit
Congratulations.
18.7. Yes, sir. In the summer I hit 18.7 miles per hour. So if some people think, you know, I'm not athletic enough to play tackle, I think they're wrong. But you know, other people are gonna have their opinions. I'll have mine, and we'll just go with that.
No, I agree. I mean, several years ago, you were a 6'4", 215-pound tight end. So how did you
Yes,
go
sir.
about reshaping your body and becoming a highly sought-after offensive tackle? Was that by design, or did you just grow from a tight end into an offensive tackle? And an addendum to that question, how did you playing tight end growing up help you with that athleticism that you have?
So I think the one thing about me is that my mindset was I was never going to be offensive. Like, when I was going to be an offensive tackle, when I changed offensive tackle, I never stopped doing ladder drills. I never stopped doing the things I did at tight end. I still love to run routes. I still love to catch the ball. I'd go out with my friends and run routes catching the ball. And, you know, made me not have stiff hips, made me have loose joints, loose ankles, you know, made me be able to flex and, you know, do a lot of things. And no, I still do speed and agility with skill guys. I never try to run the lineman times. I always try to run the skill guys time. Um, you know, if you look at my miles per hour, I'm higher than the average skill guy mile per hour. And so, like, that's like, I always train fast. I train everything fast. Um, in the off season is really heavy and trying to get, but a lot of stuff is fast stuff, trying to get that quick twitch right. And I play basketball to keep myself in athletic shape and doing all. I ran track a little bit. Like, that's something I did. You know, I made sure, like, I was like, hey, these offensive tackles nowadays, they're athletic, they're fast. Like, I don't want to train like all the time, and I want to train like a skill guy. I want to train like a ballet dancer trying to play offensive line. You know, I want to be light on my
The
feet, quick on
tackles
my
are.
feet. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And playing tight end growing up, I mean, having to do it all, like walk, catch, you know, like whatever, like that's helped me a lot with situation, because I understand a lot of the concepts for like routes, and I understand how much time each route needs or where it needs to be put and stuff. So that helps me with O-line understanding, okay, I have to get this guy right here so Jordan can have a good eyesight to the wide receiver and where he needed to throw it, and they can't get the hand on the ball. So that helps me a lot, and it's a broader understanding of the game. You know, I didn't just play tight end; I played wide receiver. I like to used to think I was a running back. You know, I played a lot of different positions, and so getting all that, like, that really helped me. Just understanding the game, slowing it down for me, being able to look at something, say, "Hey, I see what you're saying. Now this is how I do it."
Well, it looks like you put a lot of thought into it, and hopefully Coach Dallas has a tackle-eligible play for you in the playbook, gonna spring it in there sometime, or at least let you line up and play a little tight end before your senior season is over. That would be great, I'm sure.
Yeah, we don't got that. We don't got that. I don't think they'll do that for me, but you know,
Come on now.
sadly, not.
You gotta
Yeah,
you
they.
gotta
I
go
wish
you
they
gotta go
would,
bat
but
for yourself. Gotta go to bat for
yes,
yourself
sir.
there, Fletch, and get that. So,
Yes,
you
sir.
took officials to Clemson, Georgia, Georgia Tech, and then most recently Wake 2 weekends ago. So you decided on the Deeks. What was the trigger that made you decide that a decision time was now, and what convinced you about Wake that this was the place for you?
Honestly, my parents were praying for a slap in the face for a decision. They're praying for God just to, hand a decision for me. And I think as soon as I stepped on campus, it was a slap in the face. For me,
There
I've
you
been to
go.
Wake a couple times as a tight end, and meeting Coach Dicker and seeing how he recruited me. It really was Coach Kastner, Coach Dicker. They had the whole coaching staff recruiting me, all the GM, everybody was recruiting me to go there. And that really meant a lot for me to a head coach to be like texting me, asking me how I'm doing, like trying to check up on me, like a head coach doing that, like that's huge. Like you don't see that a lot. Like Kirby doesn't do that, He probably does that for some players, but just that meant I was
Gotcha.
a priority. And they showed me as soon as I got in there, they showed me what they were going to do. They showed me my development plan. They showed me when they think I'm going to play. They showed me a lot of different things. And I was just like, wow, they really care. They really want me. Like, okay, I'm going to pray about this. And so I wanted to commit on my OV. I enjoyed everybody there. I enjoyed the game, even though they lost NC State. You saw how dangerous their offense was. I saw their O-line. They were working. Their O-line was playing good, So I was just watching. I was like, man, this is the same. I watched Hebron my freshman year going into my sophomore year before I transferred, and it looked the same exact way where you could see there was something there. You could see that they're building something big. You can see that they're going to be good in a couple years. And so honestly, it felt like home. It felt exactly how it felt for Hebron. And, Hebron's been the greatest experience of my life, and it will always be a special place in my heart. And so when I felt that way, and I knew it was home. So I prayed. I came home and prayed, and I called coach and I was like, Coach, I'm not going on a visit to NC State. I'm committed 100% to Wake Forest. Thank you for everything you've done for me. And, I committed and no looking back.
There you go. Congratulations on that. I know
Yes,
your
sir.
goal is to win another state championship this year, but when you look back at it, what do you want to take away from this senior season and in particular your high school football career?
I think a lot of people think it's accolades for personal accolades, and a lot of guys like personal accolades. But as a team, whose life did I impact on the team? Who impacted my life? Did I have a good time with my friends? That's all that matters. Because when I'm 60 or 70 years old, I'm not going to care about a piece of hardware, and no one's going to care that I'm all state. But I'm gonna have those memories forever. And so, that's generally the reason why I play football. I love football and I love playing it. I love dominating the person across from me. But you have to be honest, like, man, there's nothing like fall camp when you're with your brothers. Like, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like putting that hand in that dirt with your brothers, and it's 100 degrees outside and you're sweating, dying, and you look across the line, the other dude's sweating and dying. You look to the left, the other dude's sweating and dying. There's nothing like it. And like generally, when I graduate here, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss because these guys are family. I live an hour away from here, and I'm always at school. I'm always at school. I mean, I don't want to leave this place. It's so amazing. And to any kid that ever watches this, Hebron Christian is the place for you. Like, this place has changed my life fully. And that's what I'm gonna take away from the senior. I'm gonna take away the fans. I'm gonna take away my friends coming to the game. I'm gonna take away my teammates. I'm gonna take away us going to Stars and Strike, having a good time. Coach Dallas has done a great job for seniors this year. Really, really bonding us together. Like, we are a family. We are one. And I know if I have a hard time, I look back, there's someone's gonna be supporting me. There's someone's gonna be there for me. And so, yeah, that's what I want to take away from my senior, my teammates, and just having fun. At the end of the day, it's not about personal accolades. It's not about the team. It's about the team and not just winning. It's who did I turn into during my senior year. I'm about to become a man. Godly man. I just need to be the best man I can and just have fun.
That's great stuff, and I know you're at the right place there at Hebron, and I believe you're going to the right place at Wake Forest. Thanks a lot for being with us. Congratulations on your season and continued success to you, Fletcher, and your Hebron Lions teammates going forward the rest of the season.
Yes, sir.
Man, that was great to catch up with Fletcher, and we certainly wish him the best here in his senior season with the Hebron Christian Lions and going forward in his college football career at Wake Forest. You can tell that is a young man who's not only built for the job, but he's also got a strong head on his shoulder and a great family backing him up. So those are always big pluses. Good luck to him. All right, before we go, check out the 5 biggest games to watch this weekend. And you'll notice almost all of it's coming from South Georgia because that's region play is opening up in South Georgia. So we got some huge games on the schedule this Friday night. Let's start with the 4A Region 1 opener between 7th ranked Benedictine and number 4 Ware County. The Cadets are 2-2 on the season, and the Gators are 5-0. This is the 6th all-time meeting, with Ware leading the series 3-2, including a 38-14 win last season. Benedictine has won 4 state championships since 2014. The Gators won their first state championship in 2022, and I had the pleasure of calling that one on GPB. Next game on the list, 6A Region 1 opener between number 4 Valdosta and number 10 Camden County. Both these teams are 5-0. Camden opened with a win over 5A number 7 Brunswick, and then they've beaten 4 straight opponents from the state of Florida. Of course, they're right down there on the state line, so it makes sense they're playing teams from Florida. Valdosta has had one close game, and that was a 21-14 victory over Tampa Jesuit, and the other 4 victories have come by no less than 38 points. This will be the 19th all-time meeting, with Valdosta leading the series 10-7-1, including a 56-37 win in 2024. Next on my list is another 6A Region 1 opener. Number 9 Colquitt County at number 8 Lowndes. What a game this should be. Packers 4-1, and after playing just 3 games in the first 35 days of the season, they just won 3 games in the span of 8 days to get their schedule back on track. They had some weather delays in there and a makeup game they had to squeeze in. They got in a win this past week over Monroe. Vikings coming off a bye week, so they're well rested for the Packers who are coming to town, and they haven't won by less than 3 touchdowns this season. This will be the 50th all-time meeting with the Vikings leading 27-22, but Colquitt has won 3 in a row in the series and 4 of the last 5, including a 38-35 shootout win last year in Moultrie. Next up on the list, 5A Region 2 opener between number 6 Lee County and number 1 Thomas County Central. Like I told you, we got some monster games coming up in South Georgia this weekend, no doubt about it. Trojans are 4-1. Their only loss came to Colquitt County 2 weeks ago, and that was a game where Lee made a frantic comeback in the fourth quarter. They were down over 30 points when the quarter started. They nearly came back and won that game with a running clock, which is almost impossible to do. They ended up losing 43-36. Yellow Jackets are 5-0. TCC has been at the top of my 5A ranking since the preseason. They are winning their games by an average of 53 points per game. This is the 28th all-time meeting, with TCC leading 27-4, but Lee County did win last year in Leesburg 35-23. And number 1 on my list, Noonan at number 2, Langston Hughes. This is the GPB Sports Football Fridays in Georgia Game of the Week, Region 3 5A, and it's a must-win for the Cougars already. They are 4-1, but they were upset a couple of weeks ago by still undefeated Northgate in their region, so they got to win this game and have any chance of winning the region championship. Panthers are 5-0 under first-year head coach Andrico Hines, who was the offensive coordinator back in 2022 when Hughes won the state championship, and they've reached the finals in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Cougars have been around a long time. They're a brand name in the state of Georgia, and they're recovering from a F4 tornado that severely damaged the school in March of 2021. So it's been a long road back for Coach Chip Walker's team. They went 10-20 in the next 3 seasons after that tornado, but now they've gone 13-4 here in the last 2 under Walker, who won 3 state championships at Sandy Creek before making the move to Noonan And they're a program that started playing football in 1907. And they got to the finals 3 times in school history, had back-to-back semifinal appearances in 2008 and 2009 with Alec and Xander Ogletree when they started there. And, of course, they would both go on to play at Georgia, and Alec ended up playing 9 seasons in the NFL. So this is a little new school versus old school on GPB this Friday night. But you can't deny the dominance of Langston Hughes. Not only have they become one of the top programs in the state of Georgia here in the 2020s, they become one of the top programs in the entire country here in the 2020s. So looking forward to that one. Join me along with my buddy Wayne Gandy. You know him, Auburn Tigers All-American, NFL first-round draft pick, 15-year pro. A lot of that with the Rams, but played with the Steelers, the Saints, played with the Falcons. Love working with Wayne. And John Nelson, of course, will join us on the sidelines. And that'll be this Friday night at 7:30 on GPB. Invite you to tune in and join us for that game. Should be a lot of fun. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Matt Stewart Sports High School Football Podcast. Thanks for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, iHeart, or Apple. And please like, follow, subscribe, and share with your high school football friends. We'll see you next time.